Australia and Adelaide. If you've got fewer people, you've got fewer queues and ramping and homelessness and unemployed. It's from Wiley. And Lynn says, as a child in the 60s, we grew up with a beautiful Italian family next door. They worked 7 days a week. Kids were looked after by the extended family, and they owned their home before ours did because of all the hard work and support of the family. This doesn't happen anymore. So that's Lynn's thoughts. Happy to keep yours coming as well. 0467 922 891. You can always give us a call too on 1300 222 891. Indeed, after the news, I'd be very keen to hear from you on those very numbers. For hypothetically speaking, we pose just that to you, a hypothetical question. Should we have a rating system for books like we have for movies? P, G, G, M, MA? Or is that a bad idea? What do you think? The pros and the cons. We'll talk about it after the news.
When you need the latest information about your suburb.
That's why we're pushing SA Water, that's why we're pushing all the councils, that's why we're pushing legislation through the Parliament, because we know that that's the answer.
You'll hear it on 891 ABC Radio Adelaide.
ABC News with Sophie Holder. Good afternoon. A retired university professor says it's a mischaracterisation to suggest a disaster declaration would unlock more funding to fight a toxic algal bloom that's been affecting South Australia's coastline. Calls for a federal government declaration have intensified in recent weeks as the bloom continues to devastate the state's coasts and industries. However, Dr Michael Eburn says the algal bloom doesn't fit the definition for a natural disaster declaration, and government funding has been committed regardless.
The government has already pledged $14 million to assist South Australia. So the government has the means, the Commonwealth government has the means to provide assistance and is doing it. It's just not doing it through these routes because it doesn't need to.
But Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young says the bloom should be acknowledged by the federal government as a disaster.
Whatever mechanisms are available to unlock not just funding and resources, but an ongoing role in dealing with the response, the recovery and the restoration must happen.
SA Police say they've discovered several items of interest while searching for the missing remains of a Port Lincoln man, Julian Story. George Yankovic has more.
Last month, the 39-year-old was found dead and partially dismembered in a property he shared with former reality TV contestant Tamika Chesser, who's been charged with his murder. Police say they received new information that led them to several sites in and around Port Lincoln, which will be searched in the coming days. Officers told the ABC they found a T-shirt, wristband and water bottle in scrubland, which will be forensically examined for any connection to the alleged murder. The search has concluded for the day and will resume tomorrow.
New Labor MPs and the new opposition leader were all on their feet during the first question time of the new parliament. Political reporter Evelyn Manfield reports.
Labor's new MPs, especially those who won seats off the Liberals and Greens at the May election, got to ask their first so-called Dorothy Dixes, which are questions to their own side of politics. The focus was largely on the government's cost of living policies after it introduced its bill today to reduce student debts by 20%. New opposition leader Susan Lee also rose to ask her first question as leader, quizzing the Prime Minister about housing and superannuation tax policy.
The Senate has passed a motion expressing profound disappointment in Greens Deputy Leader Mehreen Faruqi after she held up a protest sign in the chamber during yesterday's opening of Parliament. During Governor-General Sam Mostyn's address, Senator Faruqi displayed a sign calling for sanctions against Israel. Senators have voted to ban Senator Faruqi from being a member of any delegation during the life of the Parliament and have called on her to apologise. In opposing the motion, Senator Faruqi's told senators they should reflect on their own conduct.
You should all reflect on your silence and your complicity and even enabling of a genocide. That is what degrades this place. That is what reflects poorly on this place. Not a sign trying to wake you up.
The United States and Japan have struck a trade deal under which President Donald Trump has significantly cut his threatened 25% import tax on Japanese goods. The agreement brings relief to Japan's critical car industry, with planned tariffs reduced to 15%. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba says he'll work with Mr. Trump.
I'll get the report about the details and examine them closely. We've been negotiating to protect our national interests since February. We've been engaged in intense negotiations to protect our automobiles and other sectors.
Israeli Defence Minister Israel Katz says there's a possibility of a renewed campaign against Iran. A statement from his office also stressed the necessity of formulating an effective enforcement plan for the future to ensure that Iran does not restore its nuclear program, which Tehran maintains is peaceful. Israel attacked Iran last month, targeting its nuclear sites, defence systems, high-ranking military officials and atomic scientists. In retaliation, Iran fired more than 550 ballistic missiles at Israel, most of which were intercepted. To South Australia's weather, Port Lincoln 16, Port Pirie 16, Renmark 17, Mount Gambier 13, Adelaide showers easing a top of 15. It's currently 14 degrees. Tomorrow 17, partly cloudy. ABC News.
Rory McLaren with Mornings.
Hi, it's Rory. Tomorrow, back from Puff and Watch, Professor Chris Daniels will be jumping into the science spotlight and taking your calls.
Rory McLaren, 891 ABC Radio Adelaide. Drive with Nikolai Beliharz on 891 ABC Radio Adelaide.
Bart Buston is Support Wakefield fisherman. Are you hopeful that you'll be able to get access to this $10,000 business support grant?
I'm hopeful that if I qualify, I would be able to.
Do you need it?
At the moment, I don't think so. I have friends and colleagues who've caught zero fish, zero income for 3 months, and I'd ideally like to see those guys have access to that money.
Drive with Nikolai Beliharz.
It is 4:05. Thank you for your company this hour of the program.